everybody? Welcome to SandCity Sports Tuesday edition. Let's go around to the socials. We got our week 1 starters have been named. Okay. All right. It's good. IG. Let's come on over. All right. Twitter is good. YouTube is good. Got a message on Twitch. Thank you. All right. So we're good across the board. What's going on, Chris? Salute. We are off to the races. Tuesday edition, SandCity Sports. Hope your week is moving along, making progress. While there's an opportunity to do so. Welcome to SandCity Sports, folks. To the business. I am your host, Cape Cod Kid, also known as Andre King. Thank you so much for tuning in to SandCity Sports. We're back again to bring you all sports stories that you need to know. Lock in, rock with your boy. Come on back. Let's get it. A little bit more of that energy. Let's head back to the glory days. All is life. Go. SandCity Sports. We got week 1 starters that have been named. We got college football glory. Youngsters are trying to step up to the plate. We're doing a little bit of Major League Baseball. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, we're going to start with the NFL. As the season is upon us, right? Teams starting to chart their course. Looking out, saying, okay, camp is, everybody's undefeated. Camp is all about potential. It's all about possibility. What could be, right? Doesn't matter if you're a perennial bottom feeder lottery team choosing at the top of the draft year in and year out. In camp, you have hope. This is going to be our year. And to a certain extent, we're still in that realm. We're still, a little ways out on the season, preseason games to be played. But at the same time, we have to start gearing up for the actual journey. You are what your record says you are. Not what you think your record says. What you like it to be. You are what your record says you are. Bill Parcells. Okay. And so we see teams now saying, look, okay, this is the direction that we're going in. And so we'll go down the line Most notably, take a look at the Cleveland Browns to start. We talk a lot about Cleveland. Don't see that changing whatsoever. Let's get Cleveland on the board here. Name Joe Flacco, starting quarterback. Not much surprise there. Let me see here. Better search. Okay. Am I right? That's not the best art. And I can't go to that page. Let me see. See if we can get everybody together. Go to that page either. What are we talking about here? We're going to grow where we're planted. No. So we'll rock with that. And that's not really good art though, as we have more dead air. See if I can come back. Last attempt here. Last attempt.
Who will be the start?
Negative. Don't need that. But I do need. There we go. All right, so some production. That we're working through. What's going on, bro?
Yo.
Welcome in. We're looking at the Cleveland Browns quarterback room. Just got to move a couple things around. Let's move the media. Get my headphones in a second. Touching on the teams that have named their starting quarterbacks. Chris, you make a good point about Arch Manning, who we will move to next. See if we can. All right. Okay, so we finally have the production things worked out. Appreciate Shane from Des Moines on Twitter, the X Machine. Let me just get my headphones in here. Next episode, I'm gonna have to bring my my microphone too. Use the mic, see if the volume. Well, I know it will improve. You know what I'm hearing. Okay, folks. So this graphic is a little bit outdated. Is the terminology because Deshaun Watson is not in the conversation to be the starter, but nonetheless he's still on the roster. Okay, so you have 5 quarterbacks. Generally speaking, teams retain 3. Cleveland Browns have said they're going to retain 4 QBs. And to nobody's surprise, the man in the middle. Not the man in the mirror. Shout out to Michael Jackson. The man in the middle, Joe Flacco, named the Week 1 starter. Now, Shedeur Sanders did his thing in his first preseason game. Okay. Right? If he had failed miserably, the storylines would still be trending about how he threw 2 interceptions and had a QBR under 30 and he's not ready for the NFL, so on and forth. But he went out there and balled. And those same individuals want to say it's just a preseason. Okay, be consistent. Keep the same energy. Dylan Gabriel had a good first start as well. I think his statements could have been better worded. He certainly had to walk them back. Right, talking about the difference between athletes and entertainers. Oh, well, I was talking about you guys in the media. You know what this is, Dylan Gabriel. There's no love lost between your head coach at Oregon and primetime at Colorado. And what your statements um, evidenced is that there's probably no love lost between yourself and Shador Sanders in real time. Okay, you guys are both being adults here, kind of taking the professional route because you have to. And, the fact of the matter is either one of you could be cut at any time. But I think with Dylan Gabriel's, what his statement really illuminated is that there's a good chance that he and Shador Sanders don't like each other. Okay? Because there was some subliminals in that. Well, we're going to focus on being athletes and not being entertainers. Who are you talking about? Somebody that has a nickname Primetime? Okay, you could have just did the status quo. I mean, it's all about working hard, doing it for the team. I just want to be a good leader of men. You could have used any of the platitudes, all right, or statements.
I would have to say I kind of disagree. And the reason why that is Dylan Gabriel is trying to make the same team that he is. So as a man, as a competitor, that's my enemy across that line. In what quarterback room do you see people high-fiving when they're trying to get a spot? Obviously, it's a crowded quarterback room.
No doubt.
So I mean, they're trying to take each other's job. So it shouldn't be friendly. No. Because Shador thinks he's the best. Dylan needs to think he's the best too. They're both NFL quarterbacks. And you seem to forget Dylan Gabriel was Oregon's quarterback last year.
Go ahead.
So in terms of I would say just status of nature in football, Dylan Gabriel has more college wins than Shador Sanders. I'm not saying he's better, but he has a lot more wins. So he deserves, I would say, the merit to talk that talk. I mean,
go ahead.
They're not friends. Brady said Peyton Manning he made Peyton Manning his enemy. And if Shador is coming into the NFL and thinking that friendship is just going to get him along or primetime is just going to get him along because of the name, it's not happening. And that's already been shown.
All right, so we're competing out here. Thanks for that, bro. And Chris, thank you for your point there. About the volume. I said, let me go over here and get my mic. See if I can see what's going on with the microphone. Possibly get that into the mix, into the action. All right. So they're both competing. They both want that starting job, obviously. But how do I want to put this? I'm in agreement with you. There's no love lost, and we don't need. But what I credit Shador and Dylan Gabriel with is you might not like the other person, but you're going to respect them. And you're going to keep it classy, and you're going to keep it professional.
I mean, they are professionals at this point. So, you have for instance, Shador didn't want to sign that boy's autograph because he said, "I'm warming up for a game here. He's a professional athlete. You need to be locked in." So, understandable. I think Dylan Gabriel played maybe double the amount of games Shador played in college.
Yep. Got a little bit more experience. Okay.
At multiple big programs. So he's been around the block.
Been around the block a good amount. Let me see if we can hook my mic up and see if we can. Go ahead.
Shador's record at CU was 13-12. That is not. I don't care. It's not acceptable. It really isn't. Your job as a quarterback is to really win games. And at Colorado, yes, he played amazing, but they weren't winning games. So got the Daffy Duck shirt on today.
Hello?
Yeah, I'm here.
Sorry, bro. I didn't get that last take when I'm trying to when I hook this mic up. Sometimes I can't. Let me hook the mic up and then see if I can still hear what the heck's being said. Go ahead and say something.
Yeah, get check, mic check.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Now go ahead and say something.
Can you hear me?
I don't know
Mic
why it is
check.
I can't hear you when I plug this in.
Because
I plug this mic in, and then the volume goes off. Hold on. Say something again, bro.
Mic check.
Bigger. Yeah.
Mic check.
Mic check. Say something.
Mic check.
All right, I can hear you now. And I don't know if my microphone or if this microphone is on. We'll see, but I want to try to make get the volume right. I have these tools, so I apologize for the interruption in this conversation. We'll see. We'll continue to see how we do with the. There we go. It's not a headphone though. It's a mic. Goodness gracious. This might have to be jettisoned to the next episode. All right. So on this point, technical difficulties. These are things that I need to do before we go live. Get these things in order. What I want to conclude with on this topic, we're going to touch on Arch Manning, which Chris brought up. And bro, you've been cooking there. Are either Shedeur Sanders or Dylan Gabriel better than Kenny Pickett? I say right now, no.
No. Yeah, no. Not yet.
No, they're not better than Kenny Pickett?
No. And you know why? It's because they're both big question marks. And at least Kenny Pickett has started NFL games. It's fighting for a third string.
They're both battling for that that number 3 seed.
Correct.
Battling for the number 3 seed. Okay. What's up, bro?
What's up? What's up?
Let me see. We still live here?
Yep, it's saying we're still live.
I got kicked the heck out. Hold on. Now I'm back. My bad, people. Everyone out there in television land. I'm trying to get things in order. Let me see if I can get the chat back up. Kicked me the heck out, and now I'm back. So we're back. Okay. So, apologies. Start with. We're still good. We're still good across on the socials. I'm seeing live. I guess it'll get caught up. You learn something new every day. And what I learned is if we want to employ the new mic to get the volume correct, Chris intimated it's a little bit low. We got to do this stuff beforehand. Got to do this stuff beforehand. I think the way. I think you might be the fireworks intermission. To be determined. Okay, so any last thoughts as I on the Browns and their starting quarterback and the competition that's going on right now? Right now, Shador Dwayne is 4th on the depth chart. Do you agree with that?
I mean, it's preseason, and 4th, 3rd, 2nd, not starter. That's really, I wasn't expecting him to come in and be a starter. So he's got to earn his keep. And, a lot of quarterbacks that got picked late rounds, usually something had to happen for them to get on the field. So we'll see.
Okay, and in your estimation, the season is going to start with Joe Flacco starting, Kenny Pickett as the backup, and one of the 2 rooks in the 3 spot.
Yes.
All right, and I'm going to pick Shador Sanders to edge out Dillon Gabriel for the 3 spot. That's part of this conversation that may or may not have been highlighted, but I'm going to double down on it, is the fact that, something that Dillon Gabriel had last year, Shador Sanders has not had since he left an HBCU, is an offensive line. So, I'll talk about what Shador Sanders can and can't do, the attitude he has or doesn't have. For the first time now, in a long time, he has some protection to be actually able to run an offense, right? Because he was running for his life 2 years at Colorado.
And whose fault is that? The transfer portal is open at any given time. He could have went to any other school. That's not a valid reason of no. The offensive line thing, I can't buy it because the portal is open. He wanted to play for Colorado because he wanted to play for his dad.
Facts. So
he could have went anywhere. He could have went to USC. He could have went anywhere else and been a starting quarterback. So he chose where he wanted to play. I'm not buying the no offensive line thing. I'm not buying it because if he really wanted an offensive line, you could have went and played for one of these Power 5 schools.
Okay. But he has an offensive line now in Cleveland. So, I think that strength for strength, he and Dave.
I mean, where are you coming off thinking the Browns are so good? One,
I love their defense.
The Browns are not good. Like the Browns are not good. They haven't been good in a long time. They're a dumpster fire. I can't wait for the Patriots to slap them. The Browns are not good. It's been a dumpster fire. Freddie Kitchens. Look, you know who Freddie Kitchens is?
Probably coaching in college now.
I don't even think he's coaching. They gave Deshaun Watson that fully guaranteed deal because they are that bad. That's why.
Not a Browns
and
fan.
Deshaun Watson was a baller. He was a baller. When Watson played for Houston, he was a baller. But that fully guaranteed deal he got in Cleveland, no, I'm the least of the Cleveland. I think they're the dumpster fire of the NFL, and they have been for a very long time.
Question from the chat, is Shador Sanders better than Jalen Milroe?
Absolutely.
Okay. Jalen Milroe, who got Bama into the BCS. Jalen Milroe, who knocked a very talented Georgia team out of the college football playoff. I still think Georgia should have made the Final Four.
Are we talking NFL ready, or are we talking just a better quarterback?
Who's better? All things being equal.
Shador is better.
Okay.
He's a better quarterback.
So he would have balled in the SEC.
Yeah.
Okay. He could have beaten Georgia. If he had the weapons that Alabama had, he could have led Bama to a natty. That's what you're saying.
If he was throwing the ball to Ryan Williams, absolutely. Are you kidding me?
Right, so Alabama's offensive line is better than Jalen. In my view, if Shador Sanders is better than Jalen Milroe, he's better than Dylan Gabriel.
Well, in terms, it's not really a question if he's better than Dylan Gabriel or not. He's getting the third string. And when it comes down to Dylan Gabriel, I mean, Dylan Gabriel has stats that can back up his argument to say why he's either just as good or if not better. He has the stats. You look at their stats side to side, and I mean, Dylan Gabriel, every single program he's went to, he has produced. So,
and you can say the same thing of Shador Sanders.
Okay, I don't expect. So this is where it comes down to: producing at Colorado is making the college playoffs, is winning the Big Ten, is making the Big 12, or making the Big 12 championship, which he did not do. And it really just rubs me a little wrong that they retired his number, because what did he win?
What did Dylan Gabriel win?
What did Shador Sanders win for his number to be retired at the University of Colorado?
A primetime spot on ESPN? Taking them from obscurity, putting them in the mainstream?
You know who doesn't have their number retired? And it's a damn shame, and you should know this. Cordell Stewart. Name is not retired at Colorado, but Shador's is. So that's a big asterisk for me, and preferential treatment.
Who gets preferential treatment?
A man by the name of Shador Sanders. Not in the NFL, though. That's where the line stopped. You don't get no preferential treatment in the NFL.
He went out and got 2 touchdowns, had a QBR over 100.
Andre, he's playing backups. Until you play the ones, it doesn't matter. Play the ones. Doesn't matter. Preseason, really?
He's playing backups with backups.
Okay. But the game is still slower as it would be with the ones. Go ahead and open up Madden, turn on Madden, and put in every single backup play and tell me the difference. Slower.
That's a good point. Shout out to Madden 26.
Teams they rotate players, but when you're playing the ones, it's the ones. It's a difference. You got Max Crosby coming at you off the line. It's different. It's different, man. And the Browns, when have the Browns had a good quarterback?
Got to go back.
Never.
Vinny Testaverde.
It has been more than 20. It's been more than 20 years, Andre.
Yeah. But they're the Browns.
So is Shador better than Johnny Manziel?
That's a good question. Yes.
Hell no. Hell no. Absolutely not.
Shador Sanders is not better than Johnny Manziel, who was not committed to football in any way, shape, or form.
Oh, hey. But he committed, and what he produced, his body of work at Texas A&M is so much better than Shador's body of work.
Yeah, strength for strength, Johnny Manziel is better than a lot of quarterbacks. But Johnny Manziel put about 50%, if that, into football.
Yeah, and he went to the Browns. Dumpster fire. That's what I'm getting at. Dumpster fire.
Sure. I want to take a look at, there's this constant raining on the Browns, and you have the Patriots beating them week 8. Let's see, that game is in New England.
I have the Patriots making the playoffs, not just beating the Browns. The Patriots will be in the playoffs this year.
I see that highlights now your lack of regard for the Cleveland Browns, which I take issue with. But saying the Patriots are going to be
The
better
Patriots
than
are
Miami
better.
Dolphins.
They are better than the Dolphins, and they're better than the Cleveland Browns. Bro, their starting quarterback is Joe Flacco. Are you kidding me? They got this man from Stop and Shop.
Joe Flacco, who's been taking teams to the playoffs for decades.
Joe Flacco is one hit away from being done. You seen Any Given Sunday? He is capped. He is going to not finish the season. Guarantee it.
People have been betting against Joe Flacco since he was at Delaware. He's still collecting checks.
He's still collecting checks. You know who? They went and found Flacco because he lost his spot.
Always interesting as I forget one thing and some production issues. Look, man. First of all, we're going to get to your Patriots take because that is white hot. It's not even a hot take, okay? It is a white hot take. So we'll go ahead and break down that Patriots take. Shout out to Bernie Kosar, the last of the Mohicans, one of the last Browns quarterbacks to make a Pro Bowl. Question in the chat: Shedeur Sanders better than DJ Uglili?
At 1,000%.
DJ, who's played for a lot of teams, started at Clemson, bounced around to a couple different teams.
I'm surprised he's even in the NFL. Keep it honest. The display that he put at Florida State last year, I honestly didn't even think he was going to get drafted. So now the question you want to ask is Shedeur better than the backup quarterback for the Cowboys?
Trey Lance?
And I need to see a body of work from Shedeur. Preseason, you're not getting any brownie points from me unless you are out there with the ones, playing against the ones. And still, it won't even be for a full half. And these next games, probably not even the first quarter.
Okay. So it's going to take some time. We want to be 1 second here. We're going to stay on this topic. I'm interested that you think that Shedeur is better than all of these Power 5 quarterbacks, but not better than Dylan Gabriel. That's interesting to me.
I think Dylan Gabriel is better than Jalen Monroe. Did you not see the year he had last year at Oregon? Or am I am I the only person that saw the year he had?
How about the game he had against Ohio State?
So, did Shedeur even play a team anywhere close to the caliber of Ohio State? Anywhere close?
I appreciate that, Chris. I gotta set my game up in terms of football, making these grievous errors. Talking about Trey Lance being for the Cowboys. I got to lock in with my boy Jason McIntyre and get up on my, it's been too many gaffes going into the NFL season, and we're gonna cut down on those. I appreciate the correction. Okay, solid question here, bro. As we get Bernie Kosar, I'm not liking the Brown slander at all. And I'm making those 2 points together. I'm hold on. You know what I mean?
When did you? So are you a Browns fan because they drafted Shedeur, or when did this Browns hype? Because I think it's hilarious. The
I don't
Browns
understand
are
how
dumpster
I don't
fire.
understand how they can have the most dominant defensive weapon in the NFL, and
He's not the
be
most
respected.
dominant. He is not the most dominant defensive weapon in the NFL.
There's a better defender in the NFL than Myles Garrett.
I would say there's very close. Max Crosby just as good.
Okay. The Raiders playing, the Raiders being the doormat of the AFC West, not playing.
And what if the Cleveland stop talking about the Cleveland Browns like they are good, please.
They're not terrible. They're competitive.
And
Okay,
the Raiders
TJ
are
Watt.
competitive.
Let me see.
TJ Watt's better.
You could argue as if he has more institutional support.
So institutional support. Whatever that means. He's on a better
It's just
team.
a better organization.
He's on a better team. There's a lot of organizations that are better than the Browns, Andre. They're probably bottom 5, talking about where their organization stands. It's the bottom of the NFL. So I don't know where they're the bottom half of the NFL, bottom third actually of organizations.
Sure.
That's
Okay,
why
they won 3 games last year. Clearly, lost 6 in a row. Only won a game on the road. I just want to pull up what their over-under is for this year. Because
they're going to be bad, and they don't have a running back. They got rid of Nick Chubb. They're going to be bad.
let me just get this before I move off. We move to the next take. Excuse me, the next topic. I'm pro Browns. I'm not coming off of that. Organizationally, okay, they gave Deshaun Watson all that money, fine.
Why?
I believe in their defense.
Why? Why did you give Deshaun Watson all that money?
Why do desperate times call for desperate measures? That's why.
No, that's what stupid franchises do.
All right, so you are consistent with the learned, ones in the NFL. Cleveland Browns, over under is 4.5. This is ESPN. See where the Patriots are at. I think
Patriots are well above that.
Patriots are 8.5.
8.5. That's what I said. You win 9 games, you're in the playoffs in the AFC.
Patriots 8.5. Let's see how that shakes up. So I guess Dolphins also 8.5. So a lot of folks think that they're going to be right there with the Dolphins. Jets are 5.5. So there's not a lot of confidence out there for Cleveland across the NFL. Nonetheless, I remain steadfast. Okay? I think this team, sure, you know what I mean? They're not going to compete for a Super Bowl. But I think that they are going to. And this is my argument right there. It's that they're not going to be the Panthers.
They're always competitive because they have Myles Garrett. So they're going to be competitive, but they're bad. They're bad.
I think they're bad in their division and good against the middling teams of the.
They won 4 games last year, Andre, or 3 games.
Yeah, they won 3 games. Okay.
All right.
6 of those games are against Cincy, Pittsburgh, and Baltimore.
And Cincy
so
also
they're not getting easy wins in their division. They don't play the Jets. They don't play the Colts. Right? They don't have cupcakes built into their schedule.
And that's why they've been the doormat of their division for as long as I can remember. The doormat of their division. So until you can start becoming competitive in your division, then you start talking about NFL playoffs and being competitive in the league. But they're the doormat of their division.
Okay, well said. Now, after they're done getting beaten down by the Bengals, the Ravens, the Packers, the Lions, the Vikings, and the Steelers, when they match up against the AFC East, formerly the AFC Least, I think they're going to have something in store for the Dolphins. I think they're going to have something in store for the Patriots. And I think they're going to have something in store for the Jets. So when you say...
So that's 3 wins.
Sure.
Where and they're not beating the Pats. So where they're beating the Pats at home? Are you crazy?
Okay. All right, so Bengals, Ravens, Packers, Lions, Vikings, Steelers. All right, so 6 games to start the season getting beaten down. Okay, and now you have the Dolphins, and now you have the Dolphins at home. Okay, you have Miami Vice coming into town in shorts, and plaid T-shirts.
And they're 0-6.
So I think that game is circled for revenge. After getting knocked around, yeah, they start 0-6, and then who comes into town, with their boat shoes on, all right, and shorts 2 inches above their knees? The Miami Dolphins. Okay, Cleveland has that game circled on their calendar. Revenge game. Next game on the road in New England. Again, you've just been getting beaten down by not just the AFC North, but also the NFC North. Okay, they're waiting for the Patriots. Can't wait to get to New England. They have that game circled. They win that game. Then what is it? The Jets come back. Now you have the Jets at home. No, you have to go on the road to the Jets, which isn't that bad.
This is what I think is crazy, and I really want to move on from the Browns.
Oh, good, fine.
Is that if you lose 6 in a row, do you understand how hard it is to recoup your season? Why do you think the Browns have had so many just awful seasons? It starts with a 6-game losing streak. So if they start the season with a 6-game losing streak, who's going to be the quarterback at that time? Who knows? But what we can do is shelf this. Once the Browns play the Patriots, we can make a little wager on the side, and we have plenty of I would say takes of me saying how bad the Patriots are going to beat the Browns.
And me being steadfast that Cleveland is going to roll into New England, and Myles Garrett is going to run Drake May right out of the stadium.
I think that is absolutely hilarious because we sent a double team at Myles Garrett.
Make it a triple team. Okay, Will Campbell and company all in together.
And when the Patriots lock down the Browns and they can't do anything, what happens? No more talk about the Browns, bro. They are the poor franchise. Honestly, no, let's talk about something else, please.
I think LeBron would be offended by that assessment.
That's fine.
Nonetheless, we will move on.
I don't care. I'm a Patriots fan. We win chips, baby.
Win or won?
Won.
Okay, you said that in the present tense.
Okay, we won chips.
Very good.
A lot of them. A lot of them. A lot of them.
No doubt.
When's the last time the Browns won a playoff game?
It's been some time.
How long?
I don't know if you take it all out on Stefanski, Chris.
He's getting fired. He's getting fired. The Browns are going to be really, really, really bad. Like, man.
Because of their coach or in spite of their coach?
They're going to be bad because of their team. Andre, their team sucks.
Okay. Keep coming back to the team. Hold on. All this Brown slander. I got to get with their...
What offseason moves did they make to make their 3-win team better? Please enlighten me.
Hold on here. So we keep coming
Because
back.
all you talk about is Shador. All you talk about is Shador. Shador's not even going to be playing. So next, he's not going to be playing.
All right. So to your point, right? My greatest right as a man, or right, is the right to change my mind. Let's see here. Browns are bottom half of the pack in total defense. So I keep talking Myles Garrett, but clearly that defense overall.
It's not, Andre, there's 11 people on the defense. One player is, he's going to get a couple sacks, but he's not groundbreaking the game. I'm sorry. If he was, you know how long he's been on the Browns? His whole career. They would have been better. Like, Myles Garrett is the same player he was last year, and they won 3 games. What has changed? Myles Garrett is going to be some magical superhuman this year and make him win 10 games? Man, get out of here with that. Not realistic.
Chris wants to bring back Baker Mayfield.
Hey, the Bucks will be it could possibly go for that 1 seed. I'm high on the Bucks.
The team overall for Cleveland
is terrible. It's awful. No second receivers or rookie. And Jerry Jeudy is not even good like that. So, like, how do they score? They're bad, man. So, I don't know where all this, hopeful hype is coming from, but it's like it's wild to me. It feels a lot like how the Patriots fans were talking last year. I couldn't even handle it. I was sick. I knew we were going to be that bad. Drake May didn't even have a headset halfway through the season. It's crazy.
All right. Quick aside, cool shirt, bro.
Thank you.
Cartoon legend. And let's be a little bit more hopeful here. And talking about Arch Manning and the March for Arch. Chris had a good comment. Let's bring that up as we get things in order here after some early both production gaffes and takes gaffes, not even knowing who the heck Trey Lance plays for. That's no good. But Arch Manning recently walked back some commentary from his granddad, kind of talking about his draft status and kind of essentially, establishing that, he was going to stay for 4 years, which the family is known for, right? Peyton, right? Staying. Eli, but definitely manipulating the draft.
Eli forced his way to New York. He wasn't going to the Chargers. Right. So if anybody thinks Arch ends up on the Saints, they are crazy. It's not happening. He's not going to the Saints. There is no way that he will just stay at Texas.
You're saying he wouldn't want to go to the Saints, but his family is from that part of the country.
What Manning is going to a dumpster fire?
Were the Saints a dumpster fire under Sean Payton?
The Saints are a dumpster fire right now.
And right now. They're rebuilding.
I don't see Arch wanting to go to a team that's rebuilding. He's going to pick his scenario, just like all the other Mannings did.
Okay. But again, Jolton Joe Burrow coming to the NFL with a lot of people saying
he's not Joe Burrow. He's Arch Manning. Okay? The same thing Eli did, and forcing his hand to where he wanted to go is what's going to happen with Arch. He has all the power here. Wow, he's not leaving. First off, he's not leaving Texas. Period. End of story. Whether they win it all or they don't, he is not leaving Texas next year. No. Why?
To go to the NFL and compete for, to build the team back up?
No. That's not in the Manning DNA. one and done.
To go to the
What
NFL and win
Manning
Super
has
Bowls,
done
not in the Manning DNA?
that? What Manning has gone one and done.
One and done, meaning he's been at Texas for 3 years now.
And he's played no years.
Yes. But
So when I say one and done, meaning the first year he's a starting quarterback, he will not leave next year. He will be back there next year. He's not leaving. The NFL is a lot different than now than it was then. These players are getting paid now.
Sure. But
So there's no rush to go to New Orleans. There's no rush. That's a dumpster fire
first
of
of
an
all, I don't know
organization. He's not going there.
if we need to put a little bit more respect on New Orleans and Louisiana in general's name when it comes to football, right? So yes, and by the way, anytime we say
the
New
Saints
Orleans,
suck.
shout out to the
But
Treme, shout out to David
Saints-
Simon's
the Saints are bad.
award-winning HBO series. Yes, you're
but the
right.
Saints
The
are
Saints
bad.
are bad. But
They're really
since
bad.
when is that not a football crazed state that produces NFL Hall of Fame?
It's nothing about the state. It's about the Saints Like, this is where I want you to start thinking of football teams as organizations and then the state. NFL teams have nothing to do with the state's nothing to do. The Saints organization is awful. Ever since they got rid of Sean
Payton,
Who's
Sean
the
Payton.
Sean Payton? They had that the defensive gate where they were bounty gate where they were hurting players. And the Saints have just now they're going to be the bottom of the league for they're starting Spencer Rattler.
Yep.
So when you do that or whoever their other quarterback is, their head coach is probably going to be fired before the end of the year. So in that case, Arch Manning is not going somewhere that won't even have a head coach. Even if he picks the head coach, he's still not going there.
And I don't know if Arch is going to be as selective as the elder, the previous generation had
Arch
been.
ends up on the Rams. I like that take. Arch ends up on the Rams. So you look at these teams that have really old quarterbacks, AE Steelers. That's where you're going to see Arch go. Teams that are established with an old quarterback. So look at the Steelers. Look at the Rams.
So even though he's from the Southland, you're saying he has no desire to go to play for a team that geographically is close.
Absolutely not. I don't see no. Because you know why? The way everything looks right now, that's I don't see him wanting to go to the Saints. For what?
To build them back up into a Super Bowl contender.
That's not what the Mannings do, Andre. It's not what the Mannings do.
So when Peyton Manning went to Indianapolis Colts, they were a Super Bowl contender.
They had Marvin
Didn't he lead
Harrison
the NFL
Jr.
in interceptions his rookie year.
Yeah, his first year. Yeah, he did. He did. But the Colts also that was a great organization for him to go to. The Saints are not.
I'm not sure how you can have a decade plus of stability. Never mind the fact that
this is how you think of this. Who was the Colts head coach? Tony Dungy?
Correct. Then Jim Caldwell.
My point exactly. That's why he wanted to play for the Colts. Archie's not going to want to go. The Saints coach is not even going to be there next year. One.
Kellen Moore just got there.
And he won't be there next year.
I don't see them bringing in Kellen Moore and not allowing him. I don't see them doing to Kellen Moore what has happened to the Steve Wilkes.
When you're starting Spencer Rattler, you're going to he takes a lot of risk, and risk cost coaches their head job. Because if they get the number one pick again Guess who gets blamed for that? The coach. Somebody got to get fired.
Okay. Cooking when it comes to the Browns. Let's pump the brakes a little bit on the Saints. All right, they're rebuilding. They're starting over. So that take and, the fact that the Mannings are very particular, I will agree with. But the idea that, this organization is somehow beneath a player and a family who's geographically connected to this area, right? Going to Old Miss, right? You're right next door. He's
not going to end up in New Orleans. He's going to an established organization where he feels like it's the best opportunity to win now.
All right, so we are diametrically opposed on that.
Yep.
Because we are. The Saints.
The Mannings choose where they want to go, and New Orleans is not. Yeah, he's from there. What does him being from there have to do with him winning football games? Nothing. At all.
What did Sean Payton? What did Drew Brees being from a different region of the country have to do with him going to the Saints after the Chargers passed on him to bring stability and winning to that organization? Listen, I see a direct connection and a number of, mutually beneficial opportunities between the Saints and between Eli Manning. Add to that he has come out. This is somebody that doesn't say very much at all, right? One of those individuals, right? Well done is better than well said.
Arch is not playing 1 year at Texas and leaving.
One second. A quietness is kept type of a person. So when Eli Manning says something, it's a big deal because he doesn't say much of anything at all ever. All right. So for him to come out and say, hey, listen, all right, all due respect to my grandfather, the patriarch, but, it's not 100% certain. And this is something that's happened in other instances. Remember, okay, these two examples couldn't be farther apart. But I'm going to bring up one Mr. Imani Bates, okay, who's now bouncing around the developmental league and trying to establish himself. People might have forgotten that he was the number one prospect and Chet Holmgren was behind him. People may have forgotten that. I certainly have not, as they were coming up through the ranks.
He's a Manning. Andre, his last name is Manning.
1 second.
His last name is Manning.
To speak of
his last name is Manning.
Not right?
Bates?
As he's coming up through the ranks.
No.
His pops was like, listen, he's going to Michigan State. And this is the plan, so on and forth. And I was like, okay, wow, they're on the same page. But as he got older, he said, well, I don't know. And then he ended up going to Memphis. So I'm not saying this is the same thing because I do feel there's much more of a through line. They're much more connected and on the same page, the Mannings are, than the situation with Imani Bates where he kind of went off the rails. But I'm saying this is a big deal because Arch actually spoke to it and said, look, I might stay, I might not, but it's not a foregone conclusion. Whereas he could have just stayed back, sat back, which he's done these last 2 years. It's clearly established on this program. I support the Browns. My Browns takes have been deconstructed, dismantled. Some would say obliterated this episode. That's fine. I'm keeping all the receipts. I'm still Team Browns. They're going to smack the dog. They're going to smack the taste. I was going to say that, keep it family friendly. They're going to smack the taste out of the Patriots' mouth week 8. We're coming back to this episode. There will be some sort of wager on that game because I'm Team Browns. I'm also all in on Arch, the March for Arch. Right? And I think he is going to win the Heisman Trophy. I think he could be the number 1 pick this year, or he could be the number 1 pick next year. I've clearly established, bro. I'm gonna cook for maybe another minute. Then you can say whatever the heck you have to say. And Chris and anybody else who wants to jump in, mi casa, su casa. But I'm cooking for another 55 seconds on this one. Okay? I see a situation. The Giants are going nowhere fast. Now they got Jackson Darts on. It doesn't make a difference. Doesn't make a difference. Because let's remember, who's the kid that Arizona had? Kid from UCLA that was a really good quarterback, and had a hot tub in his dorm room and was all the rage. Then Arizona had a chance to get Kyler Murray. You can go. So no, it doesn't matter who people drafted this year. Any team that has a chance to get Arch Manning next year is going to take it, including the Saints. which I think, not just because, and I got about 25 more seconds, and then you can jump on in here. Not just because I'm a David Simon fan. I love the Treme. I respect the people from New Orleans. I think that is gangbusters. Okay, Josh again. Chris coming through. Josh Rosen. He was out of there when they had a chance to get Kyle. Never heard from again. So if it's the Giants, Eli played there, Arch Sr. played there, then he can go to the Giants. Jackson Dart, adios. The Saints, I think, is huge. They're terrible this year. They get the number 1 pick. I think it applies to the Mannings. You are fiercely opposed to it. I'll let you go. You can go ahead and cook right now if you want. But, it's notable. He said, he might be there for 4 years. He might bounce after this year. But let's keep it 100. I'm not backing off my Browns takes. Anybody and everybody. And I've been making some mistakes. Got to get my facts straight. I'm a little bit behind on that. I take that stuff seriously. I don't just want to be out here spouting. No. You need to know what the heck you're talking about. I made a couple. You know what I mean? So that's going to be stepped up. Please believe on that. Be stepped up. Right? I got nothing against Josh Rosen. Josh Rosen reminds me of not Baker Mayfield. He reminds me of Johnny Manziel. Okay?
Josh Rosen was pretty bad, man. The reason why the Cardinals were ready to get rid of Josh Rosen is because after he left that spot, he had a first-class ticket out of the NFL. I think he got cut and no longer had a job. So I don't know really.
He was a high draft pick, and they moved off him immediately.
Oh, yeah, because he didn't produce. I mean, that's why that when you mentioned in that time, you don't see a lot of teams draft the quarterback and start him right away because of that. Because they'll pull the plug. Because guess what? Fans don't have time to be watching rookie quarterbacks get their head bashed in.
They got time for it. But Josh Rosen also didn't have time to compete against Kyler Murray. Okay? Which he could have done. All right, let's come back to Arch Manning and his recent comments, where things are going. Okay? Ohio State is in for a long day. Okay, number 1 versus number 2, however you want to put it, and the strength versus strength. I say Arch lights them up. Texas rolls them. Okay? And, we see what it means to trust the process. All this NIL talk, all this transfer portal talk, all this me first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and eighth. Arch Manning has taken the exact opposite approach. I believe it's going to pay off in spades. And it's meaningful that he spoke to his future plans. Are they still undetermined? We didn't know what Andrew Luck was going to do. He went back to school. We didn't know what Matt Leinart was going to do. He went back to school. Okay? You don't know what players. All right? So that's certainly in the cards for Arch, but he could also blast off to the NFL. And I've said, and I'm saying, and I'm going to continue to say, a team like the Saints would be a destination of choice for him. Keep it local. Go in there. Change the culture. Change the organization. Bring a winning team back to the Delta. I think the Mannings would be all for that. Okay? They're from the Delta. They always played in the Northeast. Come on back to the Delta and get it cooking. Anything further, bro, on Arch?
No.
You ready to rock and roll?
Yeah.
Okay. We're talking about quarterbacks. This has been. What's the deal with Anthony Richardson?
Is going to be on the Steelers next year.
Ooh, I like that. Anthony Richardson with Mike Tomlin.
Anthony Richardson is younger than Shedeur Sanders.
He's better?
Younger and better. And better. Younger and better. Yes. The hell? I'm sorry for cussing, family friendly. But absolutely. Definitely better. Yeah. Anthony Richardson has a body of work in the NFL that's shown. I don't know why the Colts are so quick to give up. The Colts drafted him as a question mark. So you got to give the man a chance to get better.
Got to give him an opportunity.
Get an opportunity. So Anthony Richardson will be on the Steelers next year.
Oof. That is a hot take. That's a strong take. I like the sound of that.
Yeah, he'll be on the Steelers next year. Mike Tomlin's already doing this.
He's put it out there in the Matrix.
He's doing this. Next year, Steelers. Aaron Rodgers will retire. Anthony Richardson will just come right into the Steelers.
I think that works for me. Give him but right now Danny Dimes came in there and took a spot. So, his agent was quick to after
Anthony Richardson, he's got a lot of growing up to do. He came out and said the NFL was easy. Like, I don't know where that came from.
Yeah, I don't know where it came from either. I do know that Danny Dimes, who nobody believes is turning a franchise around, is going to be leading the way for the Colts to begin the season. So, whether he's 23, 21, 28, you're a Madden aficionado. You know a good amount about football. Does anybody in professional football believe that Daniel Jones has more upside than Anthony Richardson? Going to answer my own question. Absolutely not. I'm unsure. You noted he has some growing up to do. You said he's going to be out of there.
So he's going to be out of there. He's gone.
A lot of people would point to when he was out of there last year and did not finish a game where he could have helped his team. That's what a lot of people would point to in terms of being out of there. Yeah, right? For all the talent, there's something I got to ask you. Who is more talented, pound for pound? Anthony Richardson or Cam Ward? Who's the more talented, just pure talent?
Cam Ward.
Richardson or Cam Ward?
Anthony Richardson he only played 1 year at Florida. So,
which is why many people had question marks and passed on him.
That's why they had question marks and passed on him. So, the Colts, they really gambled, and then they don't have the stability. Like for instance, perfect example of what happens when you go to an organization that doesn't fit you as a player. And this is why I say Arch is not going to New Orleans, because it's not going to work, man. I get it. Kellen Moore is a wonderful young offensively head coach, but this year they're going to win maybe 1 or 2 games. That's how bad they're going to be. 1 or 2 games. So, I don't know how long that leash is for Kellen Moore, but if he comes in and wins 1 or 2 games, he's very young, so they might just, give him a few years. But that's my take. I think Anthony Richardson, he has all the talent. Mentally, he's not fully there. He's made some comments like, you come out and say the NFL is easy. What are you talking about? To who? And now you lost your spot. So, you fast forward a year, he's no longer a starting quarterback. So it's very, that's kind of how it works. You can lose your spot very fast. Ask Jimmy Garoppolo.
No doubt. Okay, did you have so okay, I just want to hammer that down. Anthony Richardson is more talented than Cam Ward.
No.
But Cam Ward's the one talking about his parents getting up at 4:30 in the morning or, crack of dawn.
Cam Ward is more talented than Anthony Richardson. But Anthony Richardson might have more, I would say, athletic, natural ability, but Cam Ward's a better quarterback.
Okay, and that's what I'm getting at. In terms of they are both players that were drafted because of their quote unquote upside.
Well,
but I'm hearing Cam Ward talking about waking up at 4:00 in the morning, and if this is what I have to do, then this is what I have to do. I'm committed to the process. And there have been whispers since he stepped foot in the NFL about Anthony Richardson's dedication to the game.
So there you go. My point exactly. But with what Cam Ward's going to run into is the Titans really don't have any receivers. So it's gonna the hardest thing that I understand Brady never had really receivers, but the NFL is not the same as it was during that Patriots dynasty. Anthony Richardson that's because everybody was on that Lamar hype. And Anthony Richardson, he was supposed to be Cam Newton, realistically. He was really supposed to be the next Cam. But his work ethic did not line up, and the scouts missed. They saw, the upside, but they didn't think of, work ethic. How is he gonna actually? Because quarterback, you got to be extremely smart. You at least got to pay attention to reads. And I was watching the preseason game. He's not even watching missing basic reads. Like I play Madden, and if a blitz is coming from the right side, throw it to the right side. It's pretty simple. If you see someone blitzing from the right side, you throw it to the right side. And he's missing simple throws like that. So that's why he lost his starting spot. He's not doing simple things. So he's gonna need Mike Tomlin, or he just his spot disappears.
Are you saying he could be on the same trajectory?
Jamarcus Russell.
Yeah.
Jamarcus Russell. Because the NFL doesn't have time. It really doesn't. Especially, they don't have a lot of time.
Continue.
They don't have a lot of time for quarterbacks. If you ain't showing up as a quarterback,
continue on.
You best believe you will not be a starting quarterback in the NFL. And what he did with the Colts, the Steelers is a long shot, but he losing his spot to Danny Jones is really going to see how he responds to this, because how he responds to this could be the ground for his next job.
You said Jamarcus Russell. You said Cam Newton. Obviously Cam had his moment. Jamarcus, comet flashing across the sky.
Anthony Richardson is starting to give me a Jamarcus feel. All the talent, very little work ethic. I could be completely wrong, but, simple things. If you're not paying attention to details, you will not be a starting quarterback. And he lost his spot to a bummy Danny Jones. The Danny Jones that dumpster fired the Giants. So I don't know if the Steelers even take a risk with all the quarterbacks coming up. But there's a lot of them. College is full of NFL-ready quarterbacks right now.
It is.
College is full of NFL-ready quarterbacks. Like 3 or 4 of them that would be real good next year.
McVay taking a chance on Richardson? I'd say yes. Similar to Mike Tomlin. You don't.
McVay, yes. And the reason why I say that is because there's no other options after Stafford. They're not doing the dude from Georgia, Stenson Bennett. Absolutely not.
Yeah. It's a low risk, high reward situation. Okay, which connects to this important question also, right? That was where Mike Vick found himself before arriving with the Philadelphia Eagles after he served his debt to society. Low risk, high reward. We bring in Mike Vick, it doesn't work out. What do we lose? Nothing. We bring him in and it works out. What do we gain? A Pro Bowl season.
So we said
You know?
Lamar or Vic.
Yes, I think Lamar Jackson's already surpassed Mike Vick, and Frank, he's been surpassed Mike Vick.
Yeah, I'm about to say he's been past Mike Vick. Mike Vick, and it's sad to see it, but Mike Vick really spent his prime years sitting in jail. People really don't get that. He spent 2 of his prime years sitting in jail.
Yeah, and then he spent he spent other prime years injured.
Injured.
He lost.
So, yeah, he lost probably 3 or 4 years. So the body of work for Vic, yes, amazing athlete. There would be no Lamar without Vic, but Lamar, I think, has surpassed Vic.
You got to look at that. To the point, Lamar Jackson's a Pro Bowler. What? 02, 04, 05. Then how many years, to your point, until he makes another Pro Bowl? Pro Bowler, 02, 04, 05. I think he was injured in 03. That's the only reason he didn't make the Pro Bowl that year, because he hurt himself in the preseason. So then there's a what? There's a 5-year gap. Next Pro Bowl is 2010, when he's also comeback player of the year. So
that 5-year gap. Yeah, you can't have that 5-year gap. Lamar Jackson didn't have the 5-year gap. So,
and Lamar, he hasn't had the injuries. Hasn't had the off the field distractions. Right? Talking about giving somebody credit where credit is due. It's not that you deserve a thank you, a pat in the back for doing your job, but it is worth noting when you have superstars that are able to manage the fame, and then keep the main thing, the game, at the forefront. And so all those things, because Lamar has conducted himself in that way, it's really night and day. I don't think there is much comparison between, as you may have said, between Lamar Jackson and Michael Vick beyond their core talent. And the reason that's such an important question is, will we be having the same conversation about Anthony Richardson and Cam Ward in 10 years? Is this going to be the conversation in 2035 about, hey, who was better, quote unquote, in their prime, Cam Ward or Anthony Richardson? See, Anthony Richardson hasn't even started on that early ascension, if you will.
I think Anthony Richardson he's really on his way to being Jamarcus Russell. Okay. Really on his way to being Jamarcus Russell. The fact that he just lost his job to Danny Jones, who Danny Jones lost his job to some no-name DeVito quarterback last year. And then they cut him. So I just don't think Anthony Richardson is built like that. I really don't. I think he's going to be on his first way ticket off the Colts, and if he doesn't do well in his next stop, it will be his first class ticket to out of the league. Because he's one of those quarterbacks that you can't have on your team as a backup.
Okay, one of these guys.
Tommy DeVito. He took Danny Jones's job, which is wild. It's wild to me. Because I don't even think he's in the league. Is he the Giants' third string quarterback?
DeVito?
Yeah, he's still on the Giants. He's their third string quarterback.
Okay. I will stay in the NFL, and we'll stay with the quarterbacks for a second.
He got his job taken by a fourth string quarterback. That's mind-boggling to me.
All right, so the question, next question up, and this may conclude it on the NFL. We're going to take a look at the NFC. My question is, who is the best quarterback in the NFC? Are we taking Jaden Daniels or are we taking Jordan Love? I know Chris is going to have an argument for Matt Stafford in there. Who is the best quarterback in the NFC? Who is the quarterback with the greatest likelihood of leading their team to the Super Bowl? To me, it's a two-horse race. You got Jaden Daniels, second-year guy. Okay, only a second-year guy. And you got Jordan Love.
I'm sold on Baker this year, man.
Baker Mayfield is the best quarterback in the NFC.
Could be this year.
I like Baker. I don't know how many people are taking Baker Mayfield over these two young lions.
Well, when you think of how many games the Bucs are going to win this year,
it's a good point.
The Bucs will probably win just as many games as both of those teams. Maybe more games than the Commanders. And the Bucs are going to win a lot of games this year.
A lot of games meaning they're a Super Bowl contender, or a lot of games meaning they're a good story after Tom Brady retired?
A lot of games meaning they'll be top 2 seed, top 3 seed. Could possibly even go for that 1 seed.
Okay. So that's where the Detroit Lions were last year, and a lot of people think their window is closed.
Well, they lost their coaches.
They lost their coaches?
They lost both their coaches. Offensive and defensive coordinator.
Okay, they lost both their coaches, which is why Jared Goff cannot be the best quarterback in the NFC.
Yep. Because you saw Johnson and Caleb are going to be cooking. I'm telling you, they're going to be cooking. And Jaden, he has probably the best. Cliff Kingsbury, I think he's the best. I don't know. He's their O coordinator. But I think he's one of the best O coordinators in the league.
I can agree. I think he's more of an OC than a head coach.
He's the quarterback whisperer, man. I'm still baffled that when we were cooking in the air, and the Cardinals were cooking for a little bit with Cliff. They really were. They were. He had Kyler cooking. But it fell apart.
So because
quick.
of coaching, I'm hearing that people are leaning that Jaden Daniels, a second-year quarterback, is the best quarterback in the
No,
NFC.
I'm not gonna say he's the best quarterback. Not second year. So I mean, I'm gonna say Baker. Baker's gonna do it this year, man. Baker's gonna be the best quarterback in the NFC.
Baker Mayfield's a better quarterback than Jordan Love.
Yeah.
He's a better quarterback than Jaden Daniels under the leadership of Cliff Kingsbury.
So this is where I'm coming at is look at Tampa's offense. Look at Tampa's receiving core. You know, they got first ballot Hall of Famer Mike Evans, Mr. Guarantee to give you 1,000 yards. Godwin came back on a discount. Then they got the receiver from Ohio State.
Okay.
Yeah, so Washington got a lot of depth at running back. So I really, you know, this year is everyone's expecting Jaden to take a huge step back. You know, the rookie rush, he does great. Sophomore slump is expected for Jaden Daniels this year. I'm not seeing it. But that is the Commanders are supposed to be taking a huge step back. So I'm not seeing that either. Because I also think Dan Quinn's a great coach. I think he's a great coach. And the fact that they let him leave out of Dallas is crazy to me. Like, he should have been their head coach. Because I thought he was the best new hire last year. I mean, he was the best new hire last year. And when you talk about coming in, see, that's where when you talk about these coaches that come in 1 year and really change how team, like they bring a culture. Tampa has 4 receivers. And Otto, and they got a good time, and they got 2 good running backs. And then their defense is great. They have a defensive-minded head coach. So I really think Tampa's making a push at it this year. I really do. Yep. He's a stud. I heard he's been absolutely killing training camp.
So Tampa pound for pound, that's your Baker take?
Yeah. They're going to be the Detroit of last year.
Okay.
Lightning in a bottle. Yeah, it's the end of the line for them. This is their last dance.
Commanders bringing in Von Miller and Bobby Wagner, similar to the Patriots bringing in Junior Seau towards the end of his career.
Yeah, it's the last dance. The question marks for the Commanders are their corners.
Can they lock down on the outside?
Yeah.
Well, who's their coach?
It's Mr. Quinn.
Yeah. So, again, that's his side of the ball. He can coach up.
That's the same thing. So that's why I say the Bucks. Their head coach is coaching up their defense and has been coaching up their defense.
So to be clear, we have Baker Mayfield as the best quarterback in the NFC.
Right now, yeah.
No more Baker Mayfield. Baker Mayfield, best quarterback in the NFC.
Yeah, I can't say Jordan. I mean, he got all the tools. He got all the weapons and all the tools this year. So
I'm going to go with Jordan Love. Not the flashiest pick. You know, you want to talk about leadership. You know, since when is Matt LaFleur not able to put quarterbacks in a position to be successful. All right. I think about Jared Goff. You know who I see in Jared Goff? I see Matt Ryan after Kyle Shanahan took his talents to the Bay Area. Never mind 28-3. Matt Ryan was not heard from again once Kyle took his talents to the Bay Area. So, Jared Goff, I'm pro Detroit. I'm pro Campbell. I was pulling for them last year. I was heartbroken when they lost at home, how they lost. A lot of penalties, just kind of collapsed. You know, this is a city that's kind of trying to come back and holding on, frankly. But they lost the brain trust. Okay, and that's what winning teams don't allow that to happen. Josh McDaniels was supposed to be the head coach of the Colts. Bob Kraft said, no, come on back. Right? Kenny Atkinson was supposed to leave Golden State to go, I know I'm coming to basketball. Okay, Joe Lacob said, no, come on back. So teams, and by the way, when the Patriots broke through, go ahead and check out the Two Bills 30 for 30 Classic, like many others. When the Patriots broke through and won that and got to the Super Bowl when they weren't supposed to, out of nowhere, losing to Brett Favre's Packers, who did Bill Parcells go ahead and bring in as a special consultant who was just hanging around? That's right, Mr. Bill Belichick. You got to keep your coaching staff together. I can't back off for best quarterback. I think Detroit, I don't put it past Dan Campbell to restaff. We're going to see if he has that Nick Saban in him. We're going to see if he can go from Steve Sarkisian to Lane Kiffin to Bill O'Brien to who, Nick Saban, defensive-minded, ground and pound coach, saw where the game was going, reshuffled the deck, and now he's got an offensive superpower. So we'll see if Dan Campbell can staff up. I'm not going there. You got to prove it to me. So I think Jordan Love is the best quarterback in the NFC. I think the Packers are the favorites to make it to the Super Bowl. Because of that, I've been I'm not going to say convinced. I've been persuaded. Really strong stuff about Tampa Bay. I don't put a tremendous amount of respect on Baker Mayfield's name beyond him being a grinder, a winner. I think Baker Mayfield is a taller version of Doug Flutie. I think what we see with Baker Mayfield is what we would have seen if Doug Flutie had been given a chance. Except
people forget, man, Baker was a part of probably one of the best college games of all time. Baker versus Patrick Mahomes. When you get a chance, check out that game. And you will be shocked. Well, Detroit. So the only reason why people are sleeping on Detroit is they lost both their coaches, man. And usually when teams lose both coordinators, they don't come back as good. They really don't. Especially that offensive coordinator. Especially that offensive coordinator. That's a great hire for Chicago. A great hire for Chicago.
The writing was on the wall for Campbell. So he right, even if they would have won the Super Bowl last year, it was clear that Ben Johnson was out of town.
They were all leaving. Yeah, it was like they had to win. It was the last dance. Last year was the last chance.
So it stands to reason that he had somebody in the wings to take over, right? So to Chris's point, I can't say I'm sleeping on Detroit because that was my team last year. We have family from Philadelphia. I root for the Eagles based on that. Okay? Chris, what I'm going to have to say to you is this. Their team is loaded. They're built to win. And yet they got mollywopped last year at home against the Commanders. And it wasn't close. Their team is loaded. They're built to win. They had the 49ers on the ropes in the second half. Why were they dropping the ball on fourth down? Never mind Dan Campbell going for it. Why didn't they execute those plays? Okay? They're pretenders. The Detroit Lions are pretenders. I said what I said. Okay? This loaded, you have to, and the reason I'm using firm language, and I'm a Dan Campbell fan. I root for Hutchinson. This was my team. I'm still upset about how the season ended. But it's 2 years in a row. 2 years in a row, they've lost the same way. Right? Dan Campbell is a dude. He's the dude. He leads with emotion. And in close games, their emotions get the better of them. It's happened back-to-back years. If its and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. This is what my prep school teacher, because I was high school, I wanted Arizona to win the Natty in 2001. I'm dating myself. I don't care. I wanted Zona to win. That was Jay Will, Dunleavy, Boozer, right? We're going to see the younger Boozer, the next generation this year. I'm Carlos' generation. So I wanted Zona to win. They had a kid named Gilbert Arenas. They had a kid named Richard Jefferson. Kid named Luke Walton. Right? I was upset the next day. It's prep school. This stuff means a lot. I was angry. I was in my feelings. I said, well, if this had happened, if that had happened, they wouldn't have lost the game. If its and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas. That's my feeling about Detroit. The Detroit Lions are the Buffalo Bills of the NFC. I have to see it. And for me,
yeah, I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it yet.
For me, Harbaugh, he comes into town. Jim Harbaugh, he gets it done. He come into town. So I need to see it. Sometimes I get the Harbaughs confused. But that's my thing. You know, we can talk about Colin Kaepernick, excuse me. We are going to talk about movies. Bro, you wanted to talk about movies, so we're going to give you a shot to dive into some movies.
I got about 20 more minutes. Then
I was disappointed to see the Kaepernick docuseries directed by Spike Lee. It's not going to be on ESPN. It'll be somewhere else, okay? I'm not going down that rabbit hole. What I am saying is that Jim Harbaugh coming to the NFL and he got the same team that Mike Singletary had with the 49ers. He got them through to a Super Bowl. Did they win? No. Did he get them there? Yes. In a very short period of time. He turned it around and he got over the top. So Detroit. Yes, I'm all, but it's been 2 years and you've been right there and you shot yourself in the foot. Last year, you could say injuries, but still, that game was at home and they just made, I feel the same way about Detroit losing at home as I do about the Knicks losing at home. Like Tom Thibodeau's my coach. That's clear. There's all this talk in New York. Oh, Mike Brown's going to have practice, and that's going to be an adjustment. Makes me sick to my stomach. Tom Thibodeau was having practice during the games, and that wasn't good enough. I'm not going down that rabbit hole either. Makes me sick to my stomach. It's the same thing. You practice more, you play less in the game. You practice less, you play more in the game. It's the same thing. Got no problem with Mike Brown. I'm hoping the Knicks do well, but it's just ridiculous. Oh, the starters are playing 800 minutes to get. That's because they're not practicing.
The Knicks weren't practicing?
No, which is interesting because Thibodeau's known for practice. But that's what they're talking. Oh, Mike Brown says, well, guys, we're going to have practice because I got to get my – obviously, you have to have practice to get your system in place. So the way that Tibbs did it is he had less practice, but they played more together during the game. That was enough.
So so no practices, just practicing the game.
Practice during the game. Which is, it doesn't make sense to me either. Now, all of a sudden, it's like Kareem Abdul, and we are going to touch on this. I've talked about it before, but John Stockton, who's one of my favorite players of all time, has been coming out with, because he's basically saying what many of us thought he would say. Load management is baloney, and these guys don't show up to the best job in the world. But he has some takes on the current state of the game, so on and forth. Okay, so the Lions, they're staffed up. So they've been there, they the same group, to your point. Maybe I'm sleeping on them. Maybe I'm being too hard on them. I hope they bounce back. But they've been in pole position for 2 straight years. Again, they remind me of the Bills. They haven't been there long enough. They're just this new upstart team that keeps shooting themselves in the foot. All right, so we will leave it at that. Did you have, did you wanted to talk about movies? Highest to lowest is out.
I need to go see that. I went and saw Weapons, though.
What is this movie Weapons about?
Yeah, Weapons. It was an original, and it was.
Oh, I see. I saw this film. Go ahead.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
It was a good one. Anything else?
I would say, it was probably one of the better movies I've seen in the past couple of years. So it was a good one.
All right, I have to ask, first of all, is the reason that you like this film because Ruth from Ozarks was in it?
She played a good part, but no, I thought it was actually well done, to be honest.
It's good, well done film. I am not I'm not a huge scary movie person. But I saw the trailer for this, which I thought was real life, where the kids just start running out of the house in the middle of the night. And I was like, whoa, that's wild. And I promptly passed. Bro, have you seen F1? No?
No,
I have not seen F1. No yawning on SandCity. But you said that Weapons was good?
Weapons was good.
You'd recommend it? It was.
I would 100% recommend it. The Rotten Tomato score is right. It was, considering I've seen like 30 remakes in the past 2 years, it was great to see an original movie.
Tired of the remakes. Seeing a new updated film. All right, so I got to ask this question. So shout out to Weapons. Now, what would you compare this film to? Because this seems to be just more of a, it seems to be like an M. Night Shyamalan, just like scary movie.
Sixth Sense.
So you compare it to The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because The Sixth Sense was more of a thriller to me than it was like a horror film. It was more of a thriller than it was.
Yeah, this is a thriller.
Okay, it's a thriller. Well, that's good. I'm glad I asked the question because I just thought it was, your brick and mortar, your run of the mill scary movie. The Sixth Sense. That's a very strong film.
Yeah.
So okay, you compare it to The Sixth Sense. What was going to be my? Have you seen Donnie Darko?
I don't remember.
No, you haven't. If you have, you would know if you've seen it. Donnie Darko is like a 90s 2000 thriller. Was pretty good. Okay, you would compare this to The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
All right, I have to. Did you see Sinners?
Yeah.
What was your thought on Sinners?
It was good. It's really good. I liked it.
Yeah, Spike Lee's been raving about it.
I waited too long to see it. No, I waited too long.
Waited too long to see it?
I saw it. Yeah. I saw it.
Waited too long to see Sinners? It's not what I'm looking for here. Let's get Sinners up there for the people to see. I just want to see the picture, man. Keeps taking me to the wrong pages. Doggone it. Let's doggone it. What the heck? That's what I'm looking for. I got to ask a question about Sinners, which I haven't seen. I don't know if it's, I'm not all these Ghostbuster types of films, not necessarily, even though I like Ghostbusters, but I'm just not huge into this genre. Okay. You said it took you too long to see Sinners.
Yeah.
Do you realize I saw Get Out 2 years ago?
Yeah, that's crazy.
People were raving about Get Out for years and years, and I did not sit down to watch that until 2 years ago. And I was taken aback. Awesome film. So original. What would you compare Sinners to?
I would say kind of Get Out-ish.
Get Out-ish?
Yeah.
Okay. I've heard there's a little bit more, a little bit more violence in this than Get Out, possibly.
There was a lot more violence.
Yeah. But a Get Out type of film. Anyway, Spike Lee spoke highly of it. Shout out to the original Ghostbusters. Shout out to Bill Murray, Dan Aykroyd, others. Yes, indeed. Right, and to conclude, unless we have anybody else that wants to speak on this movie theme, this is one film that I most certainly will be taking the time to see. The cast is out of this world. And let's get the highest to the lowest.
Oh yeah, I'm going to see that this weekend or tomorrow.
All right, man. I can't. Let me see if I can. I just get a. Everybody wants to. People are going to see. We're out of the. I think folks should effort to go to see at least 3 movies a year.
Oh yeah.
We don't go to the movies. That's one of the unfortunate things. We got to get to the movies, folks. I will be going to the theaters. Yeah, talking about Sinners. That's what I was hearing, and that's why I kind of passed on it.
A lot of violence in Sinners.
Versus Get Out. Which was much more cerebral. Some cast members. Bro, did you see American Fiction?
Yes.
What was your thoughts?
It wasn't as good as I was hoping. I was expecting
Wasn't as good as you were hoping?
Yeah. I met that actor though. He's cool guy.
Jeffrey Wright?
Yep.
Yeah, so
comes to Arizona every year for the Minerals show.
He did what?
He comes to Arizona every year for the Minerals and Minerals show in Tucson.
Nice. I was a huge fan of American Fiction. So this cast, you got Denzel Washington, you got Jeffrey Wright, you got ASAP Rocky. The cast in and of itself,
Gotta use the restroom.
Yeah, is out of this world. And speaking of American Fiction, and then I think it's the same for the highest to lowest. Spike Lee talks about this is like the reimagination. They reimagined this film. It's not a remake; it's a reimagination. It just goes back to the central point that you have to write your own role. That's one of the. I thought American Fiction was well done. I thought it was Oscar worthy. But that's Jeffrey Wright's passion project that he brought to the screen. And it's one of the things that I note in terms of listening to the people that I admire and grew up with and all that stuff, that talk about, it's amazing to me that Denzel Washington still doesn't get roles. It's amazing to me that, right, The Wire wasn't nominated for a single Emmy. But that's the world that we live in. Okay? And so something that I always take away, from these passion projects, and not just, from these award-winning projects, is when these folks say, listen, I had to, you have to take it from A to Z in a lot of instances. A buddy of mine reached out. Harvard is doing a film series Let me just get it. I'm not familiar with the. There's a small Axis series that Steve McQueen is doing, and so get on Route 3, take a trip up to Cambridge. To anyone, Steve McQueen's going to be giving a talk. Speaking of supporting African American movies, one of the best in recent memory was 12 Years a Slave. Right? Difficult movie to watch. A docudrama. Okay? Not as long as Saving Private Ryan or Schindler's List, but in that category of really bringing home chattel slavery in America, giving you a clear understanding of the barbaric institution. Right? It deserved to win Best Picture. That was a very strong year for Best Picture because you had 12 Years a Slave, you had Dallas Buyers Club, you had The Wolf of Wall Street. So you had some competition, some serious competition. I felt the Oscars got it right. Okay? They spread the wealth. Dallas Buyers Club won Best Actor, Best Supporting Actor. If you haven't seen Dallas Buyers Club, do yourself a favor and check it out. 12 Years a Slave won Best Supporting Actress. 12 Years a Slave won Best Movie. I believe Steve McQueen won Best Director. They spread the wealth. Unlike what they did in 94, arguably the greatest Oscar year ever. 94 is when we had Forrest Gump, we had Pulp Fiction, we had The Shawshank Redemption, also had Jurassic Park. You can throw that in there. Right? 94, greatest of all time. And what the Oscars did that year is they just gave everything to Forrest Gump. Tom Hanks won Best Actor. Robert Zemeckis won Best Director. Forrest Gump won Best Film. Ridiculous. I think Shawshank Redemption was the best film of the three. Very close. But Forrest Gump should have got something. Shawshank Redemption should have got something. Pulp Fiction should have got something. It shouldn't have just been all about, one film, which arguably was the weakest of the three because they were all just outstanding.
What film?
I'm talking about, and you were young, but you can still speak to this now. 94, when Shawshank Redemption, Pulp Fiction, and Forrest Gump were all up for Best Picture. And Jurassic Park also came out that year.
Man, what
and
a
the
time to be
Oscars
alive.
gave everything to Forrest Gump.
What a time to be alive.
Right.
Because I remember seeing those.
Right? That's back when we used to watch movies. Shout out to Blockbuster Video.
That's what I'm saying. Coming from a movie buff family,
We used to gather together and watch movies.
Every movie. Man, every movie. That's one thing that I will say the King family has watched a lot of movies together. Movies and shows.
Yes, indeed. It's good times. So, yeah, highest to lowest. Going to be seeing that in the near future. Going to the movie theater, old school. And it reminded me, because Jeffrey Wright's in the film, American Fiction was very well done. Shout out to Hollywood Video. You know what I mean? I think I might have it in my slice of life. The last blockbuster.
Hollywood Video. Man.
The last blockbuster video is somewhere. Let me get this right.
There's a Blockbuster that was right next to Toys R Us.
Yep. The last Blockbuster Video is in Bend, Oregon.
Yeah, it's still open.
Hope they keep it open. Never close it.
I don't know how it's still open, but it's still open.
Yeah. Very few people have VHS players anymore.
I don't even think they were. I mean, those things have gotten phased out.
By the way, don't throw away your VHS tapes, people. They can be digitized. That's some of the work that I do vis-a-vis the Hall of Fame. I go crazy when people throw away, particularly when there's no backups for those. Drives me insane.
Well, shout out to Barnstable High School for throwing away the Falmouth game, throwing away half my senior football games. I love that. Shout out to the wonderful organization that we have.
That's a touchy subject. We're certainly
The year 07 has been deleted from the history of Barnstable's records.
We're on the lookout for those tapes. Some of them.
If they ever decide to pop up out of the universe, I'm looking for my punt return in the Falmouth Barnstable game.
I'm telling you, we've been looking, trying as hard as we can.
Of course, the big play tape disappears.
It's tough.
Hey man, I'm gonna need you to reach out to Falmouth wouldn't have it because the game was at Barnstable. Would Falmouth?
They might have taped the game. Sometimes they tape the game themselves.
Can you reach out to Falmouth and see if you can get that game tape?
We'll see what we can do. Talk to these different ADs, and the thing is, the same thing with Blockbuster. Unfortunately, people they don't realize that there's a use for those VHS tapes, and they just throw them away. They don't think that never. First of all, you never throw anything away that's not backed up. Doesn't matter what it is. But those tapes can be digitized. We've discussed this. So don't throw away VHS tapes, folks. Donate them. Donate them to your local library. Donate them to your local libraries. Do not throw the tapes away. Be a good citizen and donate. Okay, we've come to time for Slice of Life. Leave this over here. Slice of Life.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's see where we're going to start. All right, we got a lot of stuff from... Okay, we're just talking about this gentleman. Okay, let's get the link right. Just go ahead and share the screen. Shout out to Circuit City. Slice of Life.
That you love, whatever it is. When you have a job that you love and you make a living, that's a blessing. Because the majority of people on this earth were buried in their grave and hated the job. We're blessed. But imagine if every day you wake your tired ass, alarm goes off, and you keep hitting it. When I'm shooting a film, I don't need an alarm.
Because you love what you're doing.
And the people have a blessing. But the people who have to go to a job every day they hate, of course, they're gonna put food on the table for their children, roof over their head, and stuff like that. But they're not getting joy. You get joy from your family. But the thing they make money on, you hate, they're not joyful, I think. So we're blessed. When you have a job that you love, whatever it is, when you have a job that you love and you make a living, that's a blessing. Because the majority of people on this earth were buried in their grave and hated the job. We're blessed. But imagine if every day you wake your tired ass, the alarm goes off, and you keep hitting it. When I'm shooting a film, I don't need an alarm.
Because you love what you're doing.
And the people have a blessing. But the people who have to go to a job every day they hate, of course, they're gonna put food on the table for their children, roof over their head, and stuff like that. But we're not getting any joy. You get joy from your family. But the thing they make money on, you hate, they're not joyful, I think. So we're blessed. When you have
All right, Spike. Just talking about Spike, highest to the lowest. So,
Yep.
Just talking about just being grateful, starting from there and building out. Certainly a good amount of misery to go around in the world, but it's interesting that, not that there's anything, you have to be honest with yourself. What I'm getting at is, there's plenty of folks in Hollywood that are not joyful or grateful for one reason or another, when they, and that's the same thing in sports. So I'd say having that perspective is a skill. Seeing, the glass half full when it most certainly is more than half full if you're being paid millions and millions of dollars to do something that you would do for free, in a drama class, is a good start. We're going to stay with that theme of gratitude and because this is what I was talking about with John Stockton.
22 games in your entire career. How did you find the motivation to play on nights where you maybe were sick or just exhausted or injured? And how do you feel about the load management today and players who are missing more games in a season than you did in your entire 19 seasons combined?
I got something to kind of speak to that, to what he's talking about, because I think it's going to really touch base
Why
on
do this if you're not going to lay it all
how
out there?
basketball is being played.
So I remember almost crying when I had to hear the national anthem, the first game that I missed, and it felt the same way the other ones. As for those guys, listen, they're being told by experts this, that, and the other thing. I think it's bad for the game. I think it's bad for them individually. The worst part about it is it's bad for the game, and it isn't bearing out where they're more healthy either.
Mm-hmm.
I think
you only missed 22 games in your entire career. How did you find the motivation to play on nights where you maybe were sick or just exhausted or injured? Mm-hmm.
I think an athlete, you train yourself for the most extreme situations, which is 48 minutes, 4 games in 5 nights. You train yourself for that. And anything less is doing yourself a disservice. So I think it's a disservice from personal level all the way to organizational and fan level. It's awful.
Speaking of how the game has kind of changed since you've retired.
Mm-hmm. I think an athlete, you train yourself for the most extreme situations, which is 48 minutes, 4 games in 5 nights. You train yourself for that.
Thoughts?
So my question would be, when John Stockton was coming up through the ranks, did AAU even exist?
It did. John Stockton is close in age to Michael Jordan. So if anybody wants to treat themselves, go ahead and check out the 30 for 30 Soul Man about Sonny Vaccaro and about the modern era of NBA basketball, shoe companies, so on and forth. So that John Stockton was cut from the 1984 Olympic team. So he's around the same age as Michael Jordan.
Or Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah Thomas was cut from the 92 team. John Stockton was cut from the 84 team. He made the 92 team. But around the same age, as I said. So did you have it wasn't, when you talk about AAU in that generation, or, you'd be talking about 5-star camp.
Okay, so it didn't really exist, is what we're saying. Because now you think about it, a lot of these players who come into the NBA, the amount of miles they have already before they even get to the NBA is astronomical. And that, I really started thinking about kind of just how much more basketball is being played today for the youth versus back in the day. And yes, of course, and there's science attached to it, but the science is attached to it because of how much is being played. I mean, these kids come into the league playing what? In AAU, you ref. You see teams play 3 games in a day?
Sometimes more.
Yeah, sometimes more. So, I mean, until we start treating basketball, I would say more so with more respect, then we're going to keep seeing load management because players are making so much money. Like that's the big, there's a lot of money on the line if these players get hurt.
Okay, so the critique about grassroots basketball, how many games these kids are playing, and then how that translates to their responsibilities when they make it to the NBA. What I would say is that those are issues that need to be addressed at that particular level, meaning in whose benefit is it for a kid to play 15 games in a weekend, right? First of all, okay, let's concede that's a lot of games. It's probably more. I don't know if that's more games than they would have played if they just stayed in their neighborhood and just played pickup for 4 or 5 hours every single day. So that's the first thing. Secondly,
that's what I'm getting at.
Secondly, about AAU, just to the point, who's benefiting from possibly, and I'm not saying that it doesn't happen. It certainly does happen. But who benefits from these kids playing too many games? Never mind they should be training more, but, excuse me, it's some of the coaches and these programs that make a living on the backs of the talented youth on the team. So if it's not the NBA's fault, or the NBA has taken a more of a hand, and I think that's helpful. But because you played, 20 games in a weekend as a top-ranked player, that does not mean you should be, or, well, you need to just play. If you're a top-ranked player, you only need to play a handful of games anyway. So that's something that AAU or grassroots or whatever you want to call it, that issue stays there. It doesn't translate for me into the NBA. In college, you have more safeguards. Zion Williamson blew through his sneaker. He sat out for 2 weeks. He comes back, right? And then in the NBA, I do feel that teams approach these situations with kid gloves. and are too protective of some players. Okay? If a guy wants to go out and earn a check every single night, he should be able to. And a lot of the top players, Jason Tatum, Anthony Edwards, that's their mentality. You know, and it's gotten to the point where the players have to force their hand and you know, because if it's not established, like Mikal Bridges has a games played streak, so he's playing, and the teams know that, and he has to establish that. But if guys are trying to, you know, the organization will say, Jason Tatum, you're not playing tonight, and they're like, why? Well, because of the analytics and see, those are the things that it hurts the league, because there's no science. The guys that load manage the most are the ones that are never healthy. Joel Embiid is not healthy. Paul, you know, not healthy. Kawhi Leonard was healthy this year for the first time in, you know, since the Raptors won the championship.
And another thing is the Raptors, you know, struck gold by doing it.
Right. They caught lightning in a bottle. And then Kawhi hasn't been the same since. But, you know, I'm glad John Stockton is speaking to this. That's how I thought he would feel. And we need to have a different voice when it comes to load management.
I don't think
I'm glad we got it.
That conversation is ever going to change, if more so even more get more leaning towards load management as these players become more, I would say, worth more money to these franchises.
So I'm not huge on load management, and neither is John Stockton. Okay, let's take a look. Speaking of the process, I enjoy okay, let's hear from our referees. This looks like it's going to be the last clip for the show. All right, so this idea of superstar calls.
What a game day was like for us, meaning the crew is up, people try and get some kind of workout in, and we have a morning meeting to discuss and prepare our guidelines. We sit down as a crew during lunch, and there's some talk of basketball there. You rest for a couple hours, then you go do the game. We're taping the game while it's being played. You go back and watch plays at halftime and make adjustments just like the players do. Then after the game, we come back, we watch the tape, we do the reports. So your game day starts at 9 in the morning. And if you do things right, it probably ends at 1 or 2 in the morning. But yet the home team got every call and the star got every call. To me, that is just so disrespectful. People knew what a game day was like for us, meaning the crew is up. Most people try and get some kind of workout in. Then we have a morning meeting to discuss and prepare our guidelines. We sit down as a crew during lunch, and there's some talk of basketball there. You rest for a couple hours, then you go do the game. We're taping the game while it's being played. You go back and watch plays at halftime and make adjustments just like the players do. Then after the game, we come back, we watch the tape, you do the reports. So your game day starts at 9 in the morning. And if you do things right, it probably ends at 1 or 2 in the morning. But yet the home team got every call and the star got every call. To me, that is just so disrespectful.
I mean, it can still happen. Just because y'all working late don't mean y'all be missing calls.
No, but the idea of a superstar call, meaning that they favor, you know, this player versus that player, because, you know, and I there's a difference between, you know, somebody, you know, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander and Kassan Wallace, right? There's a difference between a league MVP and an upstart second-year player. That's, But does that mean that Hassan Wallace is not going to get a whistle on a
He's not
straight
gonna get
line
to the
drive
line.
where he gets hammered, under 2 minutes? No. You're still going to make the call, particularly in those high leverage moments, right? You need to lock down under 4 minutes, and you have to get it right as close to perfection as possible under 2 minutes, because under 2 minutes, a team is not going to have a chance to recover, right? And certainly these NBA referees, NBA final referees understand that. But I think that's good insight, and I think it connects with what John Stockton was talking about in terms of the grind and whether you embrace that grind or whether you let it get the best of you. And, John Stockton playing for the Jazz, their culture, you got Karl Malone out there driving 18-wheelers. Okay, even though they're different individuals from different parts of the country, John Stockton from the Pacific Northwest, Karl Malone from the from the Deep South. There's just this idea that we have, again, going back to Spike Lee's point, one of the best jobs on the planet. So we're going to treat this in the same way as the majority of people, working class heroes, who have regular old 9-to-5s. We're going to add that enthusiasm to our good fortune, to produce. Karl Malone was the second all-time leading scorer. Now he's third. John Stockton, all-time leader in assists and steals, with a good distance between second place and where he remains. So, it's that appreciation, that stick-to-itiveness, that's an additional skill, an additional level that not everybody has. And frankly, we need to tell the whole story, not just all this load management science, all these number crunchers, all this artificial intelligence. It's not getting us to where we need to be. Good episode 220. Bro, you have anything further?
This has been a great episode.
Any concluding thoughts? Talked about the Browns, Shador, Dylan Gabriel, the march for Arch Manning. We'll talk more about the Patriots as you have insight. My Browns takes were possibly overstated.
Yep.
Many people don't believe they're going to win 5 games. I have them competing for the playoffs, so we shall see. Movies, go ahead and check out Highest to the Lowest, the Spike Lee joint. You won't be disappointed. Take it in, enjoy it. Some good comps there for recent films. Weapons, Sinners.
Weapons, yep.
I've seen neither. You've seen both. You've gotten good reviews.
Sinners is on. You can watch Sinners tonight. We got HBO. You can watch it at the crib.
I could, but I won't. Not my cup of tea. And we go from there. That sum it up, bro?
Yeah, man. It's a great episode.
All right. Well, thank you so much for being here. Yes, indeed. SandCity Sports. You know what it is.
Tell them, bro.